Hey guys, welcome back to the Mark series. My name is Katie and this is Mark chapter 5 part 2. If you missed Mark chapter 5 part 1, Jesus heals the demon-possessed man, you can go back and watch that one. This video picks up right where we left off, where Jesus and his disciples cross the Sea of Galilee and there's an entire multitude following Jesus because Jesus is gaining popularity. People want to hear him teach, people want to watch him do miracles and heal the sick. And so this multitude is following Jesus, and there's a man named Jairus who comes to Jesus because he has a problem. He gets down on his knees begging Jesus. Now Jairus is a very important man. He is the ruler of the synagogue, and he has a problem. His daughter is sick, and she is so sick that she is about to die. So he is down on his knees begging Jesus, Jesus, please come with me to my house, lay hands on my daughter and heal her. He believes that Jesus has power to heal his daughter, and Jesus goes with him to his house. And so as they are traveling, there's an entire multitude that is walking with Jesus. We're talking about like at a concert when you have so many people, there's a multitude of people and you're all walking together trying to exit the building and you're brushing up against shoulder to shoulder to shoulder. Well, that's what it's like right now, where the entire multitude is following Jesus and Jairus, going to Jairus' house to heal Jairus' daughter. There's a woman who is in the crowd. She sees Jesus and she knows Jesus is the answer to her problem. What is this woman's problem? Well, she has a blood problem, a bleeding problem, where for the past 12 years she has had this problem. She has gone to doctor to doctor to doctor and spent all the money she had just to get worse. But she knows that Jesus can heal her. And in fact, she says, if I can just touch a tiny piece of his garment, I know I will be healed. And so she gets behind Jesus. Now remember, there's a multitude of people, so she's invisible in the crowd. She reaches out and gets a tiny piece of his garment, and instantly she is healed from her 12-year problem of being sick. She is instantly healed just by touching a piece of Jesus' garment. Jesus stops and he says, "Who touched me?" The disciples are like, "Well, Jesus, there's a multitude of people around and you ask who touched you." They're thinking, you know, everybody's brushing up against everybody else. But Jesus noticed that power slipped from him to heal this woman. Power was released from him to heal someone, and he noticed. Now Jesus knows who he healed. Jesus is the Son of God. He knows everything. But he is calling out an invitation to this woman who is trying to be invisible. Have you ever wanted to be invisible? Maybe you didn't do your homework the night before at school and the teacher's calling out a question and you're sinking deep into your seat. Or maybe you have friends who are doing the wrong thing and you don't want to be brave and stand up and you don't really know what to do, so you just try to lay low, be a wallflower, be invisible. Well, this woman is called out and she has a choice to make. Does she go forward and tell Jesus, or does she slip out in the midst of the crowd and disappear? She goes forward, gets on her face, gets on her knees, and what she does is she tells Jesus the whole truth. So she is brave. She tells Jesus the whole truth, and this is awesome because Jesus meets her where she is and says, "Daughter." I love this because this is not Jesus' daughter, but he says to her, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your affliction." So because she came forward, she has this time with Jesus. She was blessed for coming forward. Meanwhile, we have Jairus, who is patiently waiting for Jesus to be done. Meanwhile, his daughter is very, very sick, is about to die, and so he wants to get back and get back on the road to travel to his house. But suddenly, while Jesus is still speaking, people from Jairus' house come and say, "Your daughter is dead. Why bother the teacher any further?" Your daughter is dead. Oh no! If only you would hurry, Jesus. If only you didn't take time to heal this woman, Jesus. You are too late. You were almost there for me, but you weren't. But Jesus says to the man, "Don't be afraid, only believe." And so Jesus and Jairus go to Jairus' house, and Jesus takes 3 disciples, Peter, James, and John. And when they get to Jairus' house, it is a lot of stuff going on. There's a big commotion. There's people weeping and wailing and crying loudly. And Jesus says, "Why all this commotion? The girl is not dead, but only sleeping." And the people start ridiculing him, so they make fun of him. And maybe they're saying things like, "Oh my goodness, Jesus, he doesn't even know if somebody's dead or not." And so they make fun of him harshly, but Jesus goes and he gets all of them outside. And he takes with him Peter, James, John, the mother, and the father, and they go in to the room where the girl is lying down. He takes the girl by the hand and says, "Little girl, I say to you, arise." And immediately she gets up. The girl who was dead gets up. This 12-year-old girl is restored back to life. And the people are so amazed. They are overwhelmed. They are overcome with amazement. And Jesus tells them not to tell anyone about this, but to go ahead and get the girl something to eat. And so there's 2 things we can learn from this story. The first thing is, like the girl, like the woman who wanted to be invisible when she needed to step out in faith, there are moments in our life where we know we need to speak truth. We need to step out in faith. We don't need to be silent. We don't need to be invisible, but we need to be bold, and we will be blessed for being bold, like that woman who got to have that connection where she is called daughter, where the king of the world is calling her his daughter. And then second, we can think about Jairus at that point of a crisis where everything was going smoothly for him. Jesus is walking with him. They're going to his house to heal his daughter. Everything's going perfect, and suddenly things take a change when he has people coming from his house saying, "Why bother the teacher any further? Your daughter is dead." But Jesus says these words, and we can reject these words, or we can believe these words. They're true today just like they were true then. Don't be afraid, only believe. Was Jairus going to be, "Oh Jesus, you were too late. Oh Jesus, I can't believe you weren't there. If only we had gone sooner"? Or is Jairus going to be, "Don't be afraid, only believe"? Is he going to believe Jesus? That Jesus has a plan even when it doesn't make sense. And so we can ask that question to ourselves when things seem to be going fine. The puzzle pieces are starting to fit together perfectly, and then suddenly our life veers off in another direction. It's out of our control. But Jesus' words ring true. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. You know who I am. You know I have good things in store for you. Those that seek the Lord shall not lack any good thing. Who is Jesus? The way, the truth, the life. Who is Jesus? The first, the last, the Alpha, the Omega, the beginning, the end, the one who was, who is, and who will always be. The one who reigns forever. The one who returns in the clouds. This is Jesus. Don't be afraid. This Jesus is in your life. Only believe. Believe that he is who he says he is. Jesus Christ, the Son of God, the author and perfecter of your life. This is the Mark series. My name is Katie, and this is Mark chapter 5, part 2.